guys, welcome back to A Simple Life with Dumi. My name is Dumi Ans and I'm so delighted to be back here recording for you guys. I've been gone for quite some time simply because I've told you about the new changes in my life. I've got a new baby, so it's just been hard, keeping up with YouTube and life in general. So I'm back here and let's just get going. Today I'm actually gonna be sharing with you about something that I've been personally learning, and that is how to create a legacy for your children. I've been learning a lot about this ever since I had my firstborn, because I just don't want to raise an individual who's just gonna be a number in society, but I want to raise individuals who are people who will stand out in society, pursue their purposes, and also make a huge change in the world in general. No pressure on them, but those are the type of leaders that I'm raising as a mother. So these are the things that I've learned from my research, and these are the things that I've been trying to also apply to my own life as a new mom. So I only have like 2 years of experience in this, so excuse anything that you think, I'm just being somebody who sounds naive, but you know what, guys, learning and sharing is caring. So now if you think that there's something I forgot or something that you need to correct me on, please remember to go to the comment section down below and just remind me of what I could have forgotten or something that I need to heed. Alright, so now getting right into it, the first thing that we need to do when we're investing in our children, we need to make sure that we invest in their future. And we invest in their future by making sure that they get the right education, making sure that they get the right relationships, and also making sure that we make the right financial investments for our children. So what do I mean? I'm gonna start by the education part. Getting your children the right education does not necessarily mean that you have to take them to a Model C school, but it's just making sure that you expose your children to literature, principles, and morals that are actually good for them as individuals, and that will benefit the society in general. So what do I mean by that? Let's say your child is going to a public school. You make sure that beyond the classroom, when your children get home, they're exposed to material not just about school, not just about science, maths, and English, but you actually get them books to read about other things in life, so that they have this rich mentality and this wealth of wisdom that goes beyond their class, that will help them to actually discover their places of interest and also just have a huge reasoning capacity, because they wouldn't just be thinking about school, but they will be thinking about life in general. The second thing, you must invest in your children's relationships. This I mean by you as a parent, you must befriend the type of people that you want your children to look up to. It doesn't really have to be the richest man in the world. It just has to be people that when you look at, you like, they can teach my children 1, 2, and 3. Remember, it takes a village to raise a child. So if you're gonna expose your child to the drunkard next door or people that you don't want your child to become in the future, don't be surprised if they become that person. So make sure that you cultivate the relationships that you as a parent have first before you go cultivating your children's relationships. Going to your children's relationships, you need to make sure that for your children, you expose them to an environment of playing and forming relationships for themselves. Let them learn to form their own friendships, and then from there guide them which friends you think are right and which friends you think are wrong. And obviously for your children, even as young as 2 years old, you need to reason with them and tell them, you know what, I like it when you play with 1, 2, and 3 person, because they enrich you in this and this and that way. Obviously you won't use a word like enrich, because already it's too huge for them, but you need to also just reason with your children on the type of friendships that they need to create. Creating friendships for your children allows them the opportunity and the learning of a skill of networking that will be very useful for them in the future, no matter the type of environment or industry they will want to venture into as individuals when they've grown up. The third thing that you need to do, you need to make sure that you invest for your kids. It's very important that even as young as 2 years old, you need to make sure that your kids have equity portfolios, trust funds, and such other things that you've already formed for your kids, things that you know that I'm building wealth for my children, because you don't know what's going to happen to you tomorrow. You don't want your children to only rely on your life cover, but you want your children to also have wealth that is growing for them, so that later on when they've grown up, they've got things that they can actually fall back on in case life happens. Even better, things that will help them to start at a place that is higher than the place that you started as an individual. So that is my first point. You must invest in your children's future. My second point will be that you must teach your children about money from a young age. Teach your children that money doesn't grow on trees, that they have to work for money. Teach them that if money is stored away, it must be stored away in a place where it grows. In finance, this is called time value of money. Money loses value when it's just packed somewhere, and if it's 10 rand today is not the same as 10 rand that was 10 rand in 2010. I think I'm rhyming right there, but you know what I mean. So you must teach your children that for them to maintain the value of money, they need to invest it somewhere. They need to put it away in a place where money grows. Money doesn't stay under the mattress. Money doesn't stay in a money box. Unfortunately, tell them that the money that's staying in the money box is gonna lose value. Rather teach them to have money that's stored away in a bank account where it's gonna earn that 1% interest. Such other things, just make sure that just teach them the value of money, and that it's very important to make money for themselves. Let your children start small businesses. Let them sell sweets. Let them sell, my mother used to make me sell sweets and ice blocks and stuff, when I was young. And now I look back and I realize that I learned the value of money from that time, because you start with the small things when coming to teaching your children about money. The third thing that I want to talk to you about today is that you must plan your generational wealth. We know there are families like the Rothschilds and the Ackermans. Apparently, those families have planned their generational wealth to 100 years from now. So guys, we also need to do the same, that you think about your bloodline from today, that okay, thinking about my bloodline today, what is it that I want it to look like? I don't want anyone who's got my blood running through their veins to suffer financially. So I need to make financial decisions that protect my family from any form of suffering. You need to make sure that you plan your will beyond your generation. You need to plan your will beyond your own children. Make sure that you teach them about money from a very young age, as I said in number 2, and make sure that it's something that's embedded even in the generations to come, so that they even know how to take care of the wealth that you're gonna leave for them. But most importantly, when you're buying assets, when you're investing, think about beyond now. Think about leaving a financial legacy that outlives 5 generations from you, so that the other generations pick up from where you've left off. Number 4, I'm gonna say that you must invest in assets that grow. We do know this has been said a lot about, this has been spoken about a lot, that you must not buy depreciating assets, you must buy appreciating assets. Unfortunately, yes, that is true, but to an extent. I do need a car for me to get to work, and a car is a depreciating asset. So it is an investment because it helps me to get from point A to point B, and according to the International Accounting Standards, it does meet the definition of an asset. But what I mean by assets that grow is assets like property and things that investing in other people's small businesses and things that are gonna yield you an income in the future, equity instruments, such things. Buy them shares. Make sure that you invest in things that grow. Also invest in yourself as an individual, so that you do have enough financial education to make the right financial decisions that will benefit your children in the future. Don't invest in things like expensive clothes and things that don't really benefit your children in the future. Invest in things that your children's children will look back from now and thank you for them. And also invest that same mentality into your children, so that their children's children, when they benefit from those things, they don't have this wasting mentality, but they have a mentality of also continuing in the generation of the generational wealth for even their kids and their children's children. So basically, invest in assets that grow. That's what I meant to say. I just said a very long sentence. Yeah. I'm gonna end this off by saying that number 5 is to expose your children to a life better than what they are living right now. You know, I remember growing up, I used to watch Generations, and on Generations I learned that there's something called being in a boardroom, there's something called being a CEO, and from there I knew that I want to work in a job where I wear heels, I wear formal, and I make strategic decisions in the boardroom. Had I not been exposed to that in Generations, trust you me, I wouldn't know what it means to work in corporate. You know, so also, that's just an example of exposing your children to a life that is better than what they're living. It doesn't have to be you taking them there to that environment. You can do it if you are able to, but also you can just make sure that you expose your children to, yes, TV has a lot of those stories where people are exposed to, where you see people being doctors, or you see people being in corporate, where you see people being lawyers, you know. So expose your children to such things and see what sparks their interest. Also, play them things that you never thought you would play, like show them people going to the moon, show them people doing gardening, show them people playing tennis, show them things that even they don't even interest you as an individual, and see what sparks their interest. And also, seeing what sparks their interest, also start cultivating that very thing that you think your children are interested in, and also see them become the people that they're meant to be. Guys, that's what I have for you today about leaving a legacy for your children. I really hope you found this very useful. Let's not just live for ourselves, let's live for a generation of now and a generation of tomorrow. This doesn't mean that you have to deprive yourself of a good life now. Guys, I know there's this thing that you only live once, and yeah, to an extent it's true, you only live once in this lifetime also, but we do know there's a lifetime after this one, but that doesn't matter. With that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe, to like, to comment, and to share this video. I think it's just very important. It's a very important video to share, because guys, let's not just live about the weeks and the BMWs and the whatevers. Let's make sure that we leave a good legacy for our children. They are depending on us. So with that being said, ciao, ciao, ciao. See you next week. Yay, bye.